Hello everyone, I'm back on the road for another review. It's a review for a movie that I've already reviewed. In fact, I just reviewed it. I uploaded it yesterday, reviewed it Friday. But I'm here to talk about the absolutely bizarre film, A24's Beau is Afraid, directed by Ari Aster, starring Joaquin Phoenix, as well as many others we'll talk about, as well as I go more through the review. So I saw it a second time. I took a friend who I don't think has ever been to an art house film. An art house film, I'd say, like this. He hasn't been to an art house film maybe like this. He might have seen some obscure shit, maybe like The Lighthouse or Hereditary, Midsommar, that kind of art house film. But I mean, no, we're talking like Synecdoche, New York on like fucking crack is what this movie kind of feels like. It's like Truman Show mixed with elements of like Midsommar. It's a big clusterfuck, but not in a horrible way, in the way I'm meaning it. When I first reviewed this movie, my thoughts on it were that I found it to be really interesting. It kept me consistently engaged, but I just never knew directly how to feel about it. I always felt off when talking about it in that review, because I was just like, I don't know exactly what I can say about the film and what not. So I'm going to start this off non-spoilers, and then I'm going to talk a few spoilers in here, because I just feel like I have to if I really want to get my thoughts clear on this film. This is fucking weird. As I mentioned in my last review, it is very weird. Well, it's a 3-hour runtime, and I think a lot of people are going to find that hard and tedious to just fully get through. You can tell that the audience, especially in both screenings I've had, there's laughter from a few people in the audience, especially like in the first hour. You hear a lot of it, and then it goes a little bit down the second hour, and then by the third hour, it's like a silent film. Like the whole audience is just fucking quiet as they're either I'm sitting like close to the front, and I'm not really getting people's faces, even if I was, because you're looking at the screen, not at people's faces. I either imagine them are captured by the film and truly are invested in what's happening, or I can also see people just being like, holy fucking shit, when is this gonna end? I swear to God, it's been 7 hours. I can imagine like both routes, because there are slow parts of the movie, and when the fast parts are happening, maybe they'll keep your interest just because how insane they are. But if even that's not working for you, it's just like too weird for you, where it's not mainstream and hip enough like a fucking Marvel movie would be, and then the whole movie might just be a complete bore with that fact. But I don't find this movie boring at all. In fact, about like 50 minutes and I was like, I wonder if I'm gonna get bored this time around like the middle. But no, I actually watched out for more things, and there were more things I noticed and more things I thought about in my head. And the more I thought about them, the more I was like, oh my God, this clicks with me. This clicks with me. Because I'm trying to take it as this way. There's a metaphorical film in here, and then there is a literal film in here. Because metaphorically, it's this broken relationship, like a toxic motherhood. Like, it's a film about motherhood and how much we should appreciate our mothers. But he has kind of this fear of his mother. But then again, I wouldn't say it's always directly because of this mother who has hidden some dark secrets and elements in the film. You'll see. I'll talk a few of them when I get into spoilers. But what's really happening is Beau is literally afraid of like everything. Everything is a heightened sensibility of anxiety and panic attacks, which if you've had a panic attack, I have. You start to look up everything. You start to fear the most minimal thing. The first fucking line we get from Beau in this movie is like, I accidentally drank mouthwash on Friday. Am I gonna get stomach cancer from that? He has immediate concern about that. And I've had those things too. I think I literally looked up, because it says do not drink mouthwash, and I accidentally did it like once as a kid. I was like, or maybe like 14 or 15, I looked up like, oh my God, am I gonna die? Like, I looked up, what happens if you drink mouthwash? Like, I've had that concern and anxiety before about the most minimal things, and it doesn't always mean the exact worst, but your mind with anxiety and panic attacks will take you there. And you're seeing this nightmaric vision the entire time through Beau's eyes. And you just follow him on this, I would say, quite horrendous journey. And not horrendous because it's only like a mess or it's like really annoying and bad, but horrendous because it's just fucking awful what he is going through. And that's just something I found so interesting this time, is that toxic motherhood relationship film is what's there metaphorically. Literally, when you go to the dark twists of the film, here's where I'm about to get into some spoilers. When we get into the twists of the film, there's a lot of things that I was thinking about. I was like, okay, there are things they want us to know. Like, clearly this is all being filmed in some way. Everything seems to be recorded off of Beau, because not only do we have, just in the first scene alone, if I know this is the first viewing, obviously you record sessions. Usually it's audio when you record sessions, but some therapist will record, like, literal on camera, and you see that there's a camera watching Beau in the background as the therapist talks, so it's a glowing red dot. You'll see it if you really focus. But later on throughout the film, there are multiple other moments where he's been recorded. One would be we go to Roger and Grace's house, played by Nathan Lane and Amy Grace, after they have taken him in. Near the ending of that scene, Grace says something to him of almost concern, like, hey, I kind of know what's going on with, like, Roger, and he is, like, he knows something's up with you, but I'm here to protect you and help you out. And she's like, look at channel 78, like, what is going on there? And he turns it on the TV to channel 78, and he starts to notice, like, wait, there's a camera recording me on the top left. And as he rewinds it, it takes him back to when Grace was still in there in the room, and then he fast forwards through very obscure imagery, because, you know, when you fast forward super fast, it's like frames. It's not going like sped up frames, like really quick fast. He hits that fast button a lot, and it jumps to certain points in the film in order of shit that's going on. The first one being, like, I believe the first one is him, like, seeing that the girl is coming into the room, Tony, when he's in there, and then it jumps to him, like, on the side of a road, like, about to be hitchhiking or of some sort, and then you see him sitting on, like, this balcony over someone's, like, grave, or what do you call it, like a casket at the funeral, and then the last thing you see is, like, this boat in, like, the deep water, just, like, upside down. You're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is all this imagery here supposed to mean? And, like, Beau is obviously in the one where he's sitting there and he's on the hitchhiking highway one, but he's not on that boat one where you see this upside down boat just, like, on the imagery. And I was just like, oh, what the fuck, is this gonna be like the future of the movie? And quite literally, it is the future of the movie. And I went, okay, I am still trying to figure out how that works. And even as I've seen it again, I can't explain that to you. I really don't know what that 100% means. But it obviously shows me that something is being monitored from a certain point in time. And obviously, it's being monitored by the mom. Later on, when we get to the mom's house, after he's escaped this giant placing that kind of is a metaphorical version of his life, about how he, there's a part in that thing, just for an example to put here, he flees that area, and there's, like, a dog chasing him. The dog is this soldier guy, Gene, who's, like, what do you call it? He's, like, this guy who lives with Nathan Lane's character and Amy Ryan's character, who we're pretty sure, after some hints, killed their son in battle, and they kind of commemorate him a hero, but they're taking care of him because he clearly has, like, extreme PTSD and is just a fucking, like, psychotic war criminal guy. And he starts chasing Beau. And in this story, through the play and the animated sequence in the film, it's like they will blame you for replacing their children's hands, or their hands with their feet, and you will be jailed for it. But you will, and everyone will blame you like you're a criminal, but you will escape. You free yourself. And he ends up fleeing. And that's whenever Amy Ryan finds out that Tony drank paint. And even though he's trying to explain and defend himself, she's not even willing to listen, because she's just so traumatized by her daughter's death. And he flees because she's about to stab him with a sword. And she sends Gene to go after him. That would be the guard dog in the story. That's just an example. That whole story is kind of a metaphorical layout of what is happening to Beau, with a few little odds and ends that aren't exactly related to the story. By the ending, though, once it was led to his mother's house, we see him going down the stairs, and he sees a photo of himself in his apartment the moment he found out about her death on the phone. Because you see him standing there on the phone in the same area after his apartment's been wrecked by all these, like, hobos and shit. And once he finds out that photo and he sees the gravestone, he even mentions later on, it's about 30 minutes later, once he actually sees his mother in person, after he's had sex with Elaine, and she dies having sex. He doesn't, but he has a fear that he's been told, since his dad died during sex, and it's been just a generational family thing, that they have these heart murmurs that would kill them after they've finished ejaculating after sex. It would kill them, like, instantaneously. The ironic thing is, Elaine dies, but not Beau. Beau ends up surviving that, and he's relieved, and he just needed to come, man. He really did. That shit cheered him up. You could just tell. But she ends up dying, and it's back to straight up frightening. And once his mom reveals that she's alive, and they take out the body, which I also realized, I'm pretty sure they took that body to feed the dad in the attic, because you see them carry it somewhere, and I didn't realize where they carried it, but I'm pretty sure that they carried it like up the staircase or up to that attic area, because the lighting in the room, that room they went into, I was like, that would be the same area where the attic is. That's where they must have taken it. So those are the few things I've already thought of and kind of discussed with the film. And sitting on those things and those elements of the film, I started to go, all right, what else can I piece together here? Why are these things being done? Who's doing them, and why exactly are they happening? Because I was trying to figure out who Elaine was. I don't really know Elaine. Elaine is a bigger mystery than I have thought since I have seen the film. Elaine, played by Parker Posey as an adult. I don't know who played the young version of her on the cruise ship scene, but we see her on the cruise ship scene. She's kind of this like unpermitted love for Beau. He loves her, and he just can't be with her necessarily because of the sex thing and his father's past, but he loves her, and he's willing to wait for her until the end, because she's on the cruise, and we don't really explain it. He starts kissing Beau, and her kiss on the cruise, and then the mom's like, hey, get over here now, Elaine. And then the next night, he's just laying in bed, sleeping, and then Elaine breaks into the room and is like, Beau, wake up, my mom's taking me away. She's going to take me away from you. But you need to remember me and wait for me. I love you. And she gives him, like, this picture that he has in his drawer at the beginning of the film when he's in the city, and he's clearly kept that picture with him. It's important to him. And he has truly waited for Elaine. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But when we get to the dream sequence, now I've had dreams, and nightmares and dreams are very fucking vivid. That's the thing that I find weird, is that they're very vivid. I think anyone who's had a dream or a nightmare knows they're vivid and weird. They never fully line up. It's not cohesive what is happening at times. But he's in the bathtub looking at his reflection, and someone is like washing his hair. And when he looks over, it's like a younger girl in a green bathing suit, similar to the exact red bathing suit that, what am I calling it? The red bathing suit that Elaine as a kid was wearing on the cruise, and it looked like her. They don't show her face, but I was pretty sure, I was like, oh, that's Elaine. But as it pans and someone walks over to the other version of Beau, which is actually, there is a literal other version of Beau who lives in that attic in that dream, as later it's revealed to be a memory. But as she walks past the screen, it ends up being the mother. It's Beau's mother, Mona, and it's not Elaine, who's there on the corner of the bathtub. And I was like, really trying to figure out, and that's still the part that hasn't clicked with me, is what is the meaning of Elaine being there in that dream, but it is a memory in that sequence, and why when she walks by, it's Mona, the mother, played by Zoe Lister-Jones, who plays the younger version of Beau's mother. And at that point, I was just like, I have no fucking idea. So, with a lot of the film, I've been trying to piece it together, but the fact that I've been thinking about this stuff is what's making it more fun of an allured mystery. Again, the literal form of the movie. What are these twists that are in the film? I get the metaphor. I get what the film is trying to say a lot of the time. Unlike a movie like, say, Men by Alex Garland last year, where I feel like that's just in your fucking face obvious what's going on. Every scene of, like, imagery and visionary is like, look, I'm so fucking clever, and I found that shit to be just pretentious. I don't necessarily get that here. I think there is a deeper understanding here that is way more interesting and fun to figure out, like a mystery is, say, more than like a film like Men or other pretentious films of that type. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed this film. I'm only mentioning this because I'm kind of going on like a theory rant, but I wanted to give my second thoughts, and my real thoughts are, it's very entertaining, it's very intriguing. This film just bombed at the box office this week. It made like $2 or $3 million. Of a $35 million budget. It's not doing well. And I knew it wouldn't, because I feel like audiences aren't going to spread it. Like, most audiences are going to tell me, like, you gotta go fucking see that shit. But I say you should go see this shit. No matter how weird it is, you will never have another experience in the theater like this, because this will never happen again. A fucking nearly $40 million film, art house film, 3 hours long, as weird and bizarre as it is, I could not imagine a script like this ever getting made again in the future. Full budget approved, even by A24 standards. I don't think that could happen. But I respect it, and I actually might like this more than Midsommar. I don't like it as much as Hereditary. I just kind of have a huge heart connection to that. But I really enjoyed this film, and the more I've thought about it, the more interesting it's gotten. I like all the performances. I think there are slow parts. I do think after having seen it a second time, while the animated sequence is cool, it is just kind of one big metaphor you could probably cut out. I don't know. It's a cool sequence, though. So that's the thing. It's like, it's really visually cool, and I love watching it. But I'm also like, if you did need to shorten the time, you could cut that out. There's a few snippets of the city scenes that I'm like, you could cut those down a bit, and you could maybe have like a 30-minute shorter movie. But I also don't feel like it's wasted because it's so entertaining and gripping. The fact that it's 3 hours fucking pulls your anxiety in even longer, man. Like, it is a stressful film to watch in that way, too. By the time you're done, you're still going to be thinking about it, no matter how fucking weird it is, and you don't know what the answers are to the questions. You're going to be thinking about it, and that's what I appreciate sometimes about film, and I like having a film like this. So, for me, it's a 9 out of 10. It's probably either my second or third favorite this year. Evil Dead and this are, like, really switching back and forth. I don't know which one I enjoyed more. John Wick is probably still my number one. I adore John Wick 4, which I'm trying to remember, did I even review? I think I might have, but I'm not sure. If I didn't, I fucked up. I should review that because I adored it. But yeah, this is a film I'm going to see myself rewatching a lot at home and analyzing deeper into. And God, please, it won't happen, but Ari Aster should do a goddamn audio commentary on this film, because he hasn't done commentaries on his other two films on the Blu-rays or 4Ks of them, not even in the collector's set. For Midsommar, it doesn't have anything. I want to hear this guy explain this film and talk about the making of this film, because like the whole time I was just like, dude, what the fuck is this? You gotta inform me, bro. What is going on? But yeah, I really liked it, and I hope y'all enjoyed this review. Stay tuned next week for reviews of Sisu, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, and Polite Society. And yeah, I'll copy 3C Films. Take care.